But
we
that's
gotta
why he
prove that
hires
we're
these
serious. It's funny.
people. Yeah. So also effective immediately, though, is Bischoff's re-entry into free agency, Paystee. This is something we don't
Woo!
hear a lot
And he was
about
drafted
big
to
names being
SmackDown,
let go. Bischoff was a, quote, at-will employee, unquote,
which is
for
everybody,
WWE, which is different from a contracted performer.
I suppose.
He is not required to adhere to the 90-day no-compete clause common of released WWE on-screen talent. So, Paystee, with his new free schedule, Eric Bischoff has been announced for the upcoming StarCast 4 convention. And I'll bet he has a lot to say.
Eric Bischoff is signing with AEW.
Made the announcement just one. He made the announcement just one day after Bischoff was fired as WWE SmackDown Executive Director. They wrote on their Twitter, "He's back and better than ever." Eric Bischoff is coming to StarCast 4. Join us November 7th through the 10th in Baltimore. A lot to chew on there, Paystee. I know.
Now, the things I've been reading on the internet also have me thinking Eric Bischoff was never really a creative guy, was he? Vince Russo was the creative guy, and Eric Bischoff was just the face to bring it into fruition.
Vince Russo? What the fuck are you talking about?
Like, we're talking WCW days.
Vince Russo?
Russo didn't do shit. I
Vince
thought he did.
Russo?
He jumped ship back and forth, I thought. I don't know. But either way,
what are you
Eric Bischoff was never really a creative.
Eric Bischoff created the NWO. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he created the NWO. He created Bill Goldberg. Yeah, none of that had anything. Vince didn't come in until 2000 when Eric was fired, and that was literally when the ratings all went to shit.
I just feel like the role that Bischoff was hired for WWE was not to his skill set to begin with. I could be wrong.
No, I think it was because he's dealt with obviously like TNT Turner, so he knew how to deal with Fox. He knew how to deal with all of this stuff. He's never had to deal with management as far as WWE, because the only time he's been in WWE was as an on-air talent.
Mm-hmm.
So where they say like he didn't make it to meetings and he wasn't available, you talk to Bruce Pritchard, or not myself personally, but anyways, you hear about Bruce Pritchard and JR talking about how you'd get called at 2:00 in the morning and Vince would just say, "Hey, I got this idea." Or you'd get called at 4:00 in the morning, or you'd call at 3:30 in the afternoon. Like he never slept.
Yeah.
They all say he
20
doesn't
minutes
sleep.
at a time.
With WCW, that obviously didn't happen. Ted Turner had a schedule. He had a business. So obviously he wasn't equipped to that. But no, Vince Russo wasn't big on any of the real creative during WCW, other than literally what's considered their worst times.
Yeah.
But I have heard that Bischoff didn't have a lot to do with creative while he was at WWE, and that Bruce Pritchard did most of the creative there.
It makes sense because historically, I feel like Pritchard might not be right now, but historically he's been more of a Vince yes man than what Eric Bischoff would have been.
I 100% agree, but I will say that on JR's latest podcast, he told Bruce Pritchard, I probably wouldn't have bought a house like you did. I would have just rented.
Yeah. Yeah, Vince's filthy fingerprints are still all over everything.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that Eric Bischoff was literally hired just to be fired. And some of those people have said that before he was fired. So it kind of seems like that was kind of his job. He was hired as a scapegoat. He was hired because they knew
he's Jesus.
That shit wouldn't go good during SmackDown.
He was made the Messiah to be crucified.
And they can say, oh, we hired this big name who's really good with huge companies. Oh, everything failed 2 weeks after we started. Oh, we'll fire him. We're giving up a huge thing by firing him. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
He couldn't have done anything
he should
in 2 weeks.
rename his podcast, right?
From 83 weeks to 2 weeks. No shit, he should. 83 weeks to
at the very least, his segment
he didn't do it.
His segment at StarCast should be called 2 weeks.
I think that would be amazing.
AEW is going to sign him so fast now.
Now that's obvious.
Just because he's never going to do anything.
I hope they do it just for an on-screen persona. Just to have him as a manager or something stupid.
Dude, have him manage the Inner Circle, man.
Oh, that would be so amazing. Paystee, he should be the manager for the Inner Circle.
Woo!
I love it.
As if they're not NWO enough
Paystee,
already.
I know. We have to keep moving.
Yes, we do.
So move on to the next thing. I'm trying my best. I know it.
Bad news for Tommaso Ciampa, the Black Heart of NXT. It is now official that top indie star wrestler Shotzi Blackheart has signed with WWE. NXT General Manager William Regal appeared last Friday's Evolve 137 event and presented Blackheart with an NXT contract after her successful Shine Nova title defense over Aja Pereira.
Yeah. Good for her. She's super badass. She's got a great look to her. I mean, she will get over just by image alone.
So her and Ciampa are going to be put together, right? Like, they have to be, if he's the Blackheart.
Honestly, I think that would be great. I honestly think that would be great. Anybody
and
who
he can
doesn't
call
know
her
who
Goldie.
Blackheart
He can call her Goldie. He doesn't even need the championship back at that point.
Goldie Blackheart. I like that. And anybody who doesn't know who she is, go hit up your Google machine, put in Shotzi Blackheart, and you'll be like, oh yeah, not only does she look badass, I think she'd work with Ciampa. And somebody else who would actually work with Ciampa, but I could see her.
I always like shots with tomato champagne.
Scarlett Bordeaux, Paystee.
Yeah.
Scarlett Bordeaux will also be starting with WWE soon. Bordeaux has actually canceled her upcoming bookings, including the Fight Forever tribute to Bret the Hitman Hart event in November. God, you would think that WWE would let her make that one. But
our Fight Forever chance as old as Bret Hart's career?
Oh, longer than that.
I didn't know that. I thought that was more of a new thing.
She'll still be appearing at the Baltimore Comic-Con this weekend, though, along with her boyfriend, Killer Cross, who may or may not be with Impact. We don't know. That's an ongoing fucking thing.
He's going
to
to
Baltimore Comic-Con will be Bordeaux's final independent meet and greet before she starts with WWE, though. And speaking with Wrestling Inc., Bordeaux mentioned WWE has been moving in a more risque direction this year, which Bordeaux was happy with. If you folks remember, a few months ago, we were actually talking about Scarlett Bordeaux and WWE being interested in her, but the fact that her character was a much more risque character than WWE is used to. So either she's willing to tone it down or WWE is willing to tone it up. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes. MLW today announced that Zeta Zhang will fight in the first ever women's division match for Major League Wrestling at MLW Blood and Thunder at Guilt Nightclub in Orlando. That's funny. On November 9th, the event will be a ML Fusion TV taping for beIN Sports. As for Zhang's opponent, MLW can confirm that league officials are in talks with an undisclosed female fighter to step in the MLW ring. More details are expected soon, Fat Mack.
Soon. Was that it?
That was it. It's cool that they're getting a women's division.
Right.
I guess if MLW's missed anything, it's been women's
I think it's
talent.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty been.
It depends on who else is going to be in it.
Kind of ironic.
It hinges on that.
Well, MLW has been more than willing to work with multiple promotions, which I think is awesome. So I can see them getting some of the best independent women to show up on their shows. You know what I mean?
Yes. Smiley Kylie Ray to MLW confirmed.
Yes. But I also think it's ironic that, and I honestly, I'm putting this out here, I don't think one has anything to do with the other because these things take months to put into practice and to move along. But it's kind of cool that both New Japan buying Stardom and MLW creating a women's division are happening at similar times.
Yeah, it's great for women's wrestling. It means you don't only have to go to WWE to make that top check.
Yeah, or AEW, or Shimmer, which is one of the hugest women's pro wrestling events, or WOW, Women of Wrestling, which have their own station, in a perfect world, we'd have all wrestling shows be both genders.
It's just nice seeing all facets of different styles of professional wrestling expanding at the same time.
This is we're not even half done, but this is truly the best time in the world to be a pro wrestling fan, no matter what gender you are, no matter what you prefer. Moving on, I'm going to say that Impact Wrestling has signed Katie Forbes to a deal. Women's Pro Wrestling Weekly sent word that the indie wrestler, actress, and model revealed on their show that she's inked a deal with Impact, saying, quote, "Yeah, so they let me be me and I can embrace it. So you will see a lot more of that because starting today, I just signed with Impact Wrestling." Unquote. You may have seen Forbes recently in Twitter pics that went viral with her boyfriend, who is the current Impact star Rob Van Dam. She was seen with him and a friend of theirs in a pool together. She is the more tattooed of the women. I say that because I can't mention a color of clothing because all individuals involved were unclothed.
Well, I ain't saying she's a gold digger.
But well, I ain't gonna fucking say that.
You can finish it for yourself, folks. Because Cain Velasquez is no longer competing inside of the octagon, but rather inside the squared circle as he signed with WWE. Mark Raymundi of ESPN reported Saturday that Velasquez has signed a lucrative multi-year deal with WWE in which he will fulfill 8 months of that and then go on a baby-making vacation.
Woo-hoo!
Kane has also notified the UFC of his retirement. Velasquez has even already been removed from the USADA drug testing pool as he takes on Brock Lesnar's steroid plan. as well as removed from the UFC heavyweight rankings.
Okay, now, Paystee